Good morning, class. Today we are going to read the poem Vocation. Vocation means a strong feeling of suitability for a particular career or occupation. There is a difference between vocation and vacation. So, if we talk about vacation, VACATION, so it means a fixed holiday period between terms in universities and law courts. But here, our poem is vocation, which means a strong feeling of suitability for a particular career or occupation. So, here this poem is written by Rabindranath Tagore and displays a child's yearning and wishes. It speaks about how a child is unaware of the harshness connected to daily life and gets attracted to various things in life. So, like if we'll read, on your way to school or market, you see many people at work. In pairs, discuss what you have noticed, then read this poem. You may read it aloud with a partner if you like. So, whenever you are on the way to school or market or anywhere, if you are going, so you can see and you can notice several people at different work. So, here Rabindranath Tagore also mentioned the same thing. So we'll read in first stanza of the poem. When the gong sound 10 in the morning and I walk to school by our lane. Every day I meet the hawker crying, bangles, crystal bangles. Here gong means an object made of metal which gives sound when struck. And hawker it means a person who travels and shouts to sell goods. Here, crystal means a jewel which looks clear and transparent, and vendor means a street salesman. So here, the child said that when the gong struck and made a sound to declare the first part of the day, it was 10 o'clock. He said that this was also the time for him to go to school. On his way to school, he used to watch a salesman who would shout, bangles, crystal bangles. Crystal bangles here it means glass bangle. So, crystal bangles to sell his bangles. Here he just want to sell his bangles, so the child is noticing about the bangle. So when the gong sound, it's 10 a.m. and here it is mentioned that when he was walking through the lane to school, every day he met a hawker selling bangles. Now there is nothing to hurry him on. There is no road he must take, no place he must go to, no time when he must come home. So here it means while looking at him, the child had a thought that the vendor was free. He was in no hurry to reach anywhere. Unlike the child who had to reach his school on time and come back home, he thought the bangle seller was free of any time constraints. Place foundation means he was free to move to any place unlike him. He felt as if he was under strict observations and the vendor was enjoying complete freedom. So it's the imagination of that child. He was thinking that vendors or hawkers' life is more good than him. He thought he needs to be in a foundation, but Those people who are vendor or hawkers, they are enjoying their life. They can move any place or anywhere. Now here it is mentioned, I wish I were a hawker, spending my day in the road, crying bangles, crystal bangles. So, thus, he was so impressed by his freedom that he wished to be a hawker. He wished to move freely and shout just like him in the street. Now, in next stanza, when at 4 in the afternoon I come back from the school, I can see through the gate of the house the gardener digging the ground. Digging means break up the soil or earth with hands or tools. So it means the child, after coming back from the school at 4 in the afternoon, that means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so he noticed the gardener through the gate of the house, that he would peep out and notice him digging soil. In next stanza, he does what he likes with the spade. He soils his clothes with dust. Nobody takes him to task if he gets baked in the sun or gets wet. I wish I were a gardener digging away at the garden with nobody to stop me from digging. Now, after he noticed the gardener, firstly he was noticing the hawker and then vendor, and now he is noticing the gardener. Here, the word is spade, that means a sharp edged tool used for digging and cutting. Baked in the sun, it means heated because of excessive sunlight or excessive sun exposure. Digging away means to devote serious and consistent efforts. So, here the child was attracted by his freedom to be in the dust and do the things of his choice. With his tools, he thought that the gardener had the freedom to dirty his clothes with soil, play with his tools, stay in the sun for longer hours, get wet with the sweat, or do anything, and he was not getting any punishment for all this. Whereas if he would have been punished for all this, so completely unaware of the hardship of that worker, he was attracted to be a gardener, to do things of his choice and no one around to stop him. In next stanza, it is mentioned, just as it gets dark in the evening and my mother sends me to bed, I can see through my open window the watchman walking up and down. The lane is dark and lonely, and the street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in its head. So here at night his mother would send him to sleep in his room where there used to be an open window. From there he would notice a watchman walking here and there from one side to the other in the dark. So he was noticing watchmen in the lonely street. He also had a lamp in his hand, which looked to him like a giant with a red eye in its head. Now, here, the watchman swings his lantern and walks with his shadow at his side and never once goes to bed in his life. So, swings means to move from one side to another side. Now, here he would move his lamp from one side to another side. His shadow was also visible on his side while he walked. So, the child thought that the watchman would never have slept at night all his life. So here he said, I wish I were a watchman, walking the street all night, chasing the shadows with my lantern. So, chasing means pursue or run after. So, here the child was so attracted to his moves that he wished to be a watchman who could walk all night in the streets, running after his shadows with a lantern in hands. So that's all about the poem.